Hey guys, this is Xer99 with another one of my videos. Today I'm going to show you exactly how I make my Southern style cornbread dressing. I make cornbread from scratch. It goes into my cornbread stuffing. It's just one of the elements that I use to make this. It turns out nice and moist and really good flavor. It actually has diced up onions and celery inside of it. I don't use eggs. And don't wait for my bread to dry out for a day or anything like that. I make it all within about a 2-hour period is what it takes me. That's the cooking time and everything. And this is it. Turns out nice and moist and got a lot of flavor just from chicken broth and the spices that I actually put in it. It actually took me about 3 or 4 years of actually making dressing a couple of times a year to actually perfect it and actually get it where pretty much everybody in my whole family actually really likes it. So I'm going to show you today exactly how I make that. Everything from making the cornbread, I go through the whole stretch there, to making the stuffing. And you can try this out yourself. And I'm going to show you right now how to do that if you want to go ahead and try it out yourself. And I'm going to go ahead and start off by making a batch of just regular cornbread. And I'm getting this right out of my Betty Crocker cookbook. And I'm actually doubling the recipe because I make a lot of dressing here. One stick of butter is 1/2 cup, as you can see right there, it tells you. And that's the amount of butter we need for this double cornbread batch. And 1 minute should do it. As soon as you take it out of the microwave, you want to let your butter cool off so it doesn't scramble your eggs when you mix it in with your milk and egg mixture. Yeah, just let it cool probably at least a few minutes because you don't want scrambled eggs in your cornbread. Add the butter in. To that, we're going to add 2½ cups of, I like yellow cornmeal. You can actually use white or blue cornmeal if you prefer, but I think the yellow cornmeal is pretty much the standard. And my bad, it calls for 1 cup of all-purpose flour, so that would actually be 2 cups doubled. Put my flour away, and I'll need a cup of sugar. You'll always want to rinse out your, at least rinse out your measuring cup between, put it in different ingredients so you don't mix it in your flour with your sugar or your cornmeal with your flour, that kind of thing. Then we'll simply need 2 tablespoons of baking powder. And 1 teaspoon of regular salt. Go ahead and spray a nice big, I think I got a 10 by 13 inch baking pan here, glass. I like to spray it with this Baker's Joy, your baker's grease. Try to get an even layer here. And then one thing I like to do here, obviously you don't have to do it, but if you're just making cornbread and you just want some nice looking cornbread, rather than leaving it just like that, one thing I like to do to kind of add a little bit of spice and actually just make it look pretty is I like to just take some regular black pepper, kind of sprinkle it on the top. This way you're not mixing it all throughout the cornbread, but you just get it on top just for a nice homemade look. And that's one thing I like to do with my cornbread, and then maybe just go over it real quick with the top of a spoon. This is now going to go into a 400-degree oven, and it's going to go in there for about 25 to 30 minutes until a toothpick comes out clean. So we'll put that in there and we'll go ahead and wait. Now, if you haven't seen me use this tool before, I actually like this. This is a hand chopper. Makes dicing up this kind of stuff a lot quicker, a lot easier than dicing it up by hand. You could use a food processor to do this, but a lot of times a food processor will either leave too big of chunks in my experience or make it a soup, and I don't want my onions being a soup. I actually like not huge chunks, but I like at least good sized dices in my stuffing. Alright, chopped up an onion. Let's go ahead and get see if our cornbread is done. I usually know it's getting done when it starts getting a little bit brown like that up on the top. It's usually getting pretty close. We'll go ahead and check that out with a toothpick, just to be sure it's done. Put it right in the middle. See how it comes out. Comes out sticky or wet, it's not done. Comes out clean like that, it's plenty done. It just needs to cool off now. So we'll go ahead and let that cool and we'll start on our stuffing. Alright, you can see I got a pretty full bowl here of the diced onion just from that one onion. Now I'm going to want to do that I've taken my cornbread out of the oven is I'm going to want to go ahead and cook a can of biscuits. I like these Grands biscuits, and we're going to go ahead and cook and use a whole can of biscuits for my stuffing. I like the different textures, a lot of different kinds of bread used. So we're going to go ahead and cook those in a 350-degree oven. looks like our biscuits are done, so we're going to go ahead and remove those and also let those go ahead and cool. We're going to go ahead and leave our oven on 350 degrees, as that's the temperature we'll need to cook it on for our dressing. And as you can see, our celery, I actually just diced up or sliced up and put it right in with my onions, because I'm going to go ahead and give these a quick grill over some butter. And we're not looking to really caramelize the onions here or anything like that. We're just looking to soften the onions up a little bit before they go into the stuffing. The oven will actually help cook them the rest of the way through. So basically just heating them up, getting a little butter on them, kind of softening them up. Same thing with the celery, diced celery in here. Just looking to heat it up and soften it up a little bit. And that's it. We're ready to go ahead and start the building of our stuffing now. Alright, we're going to start off by taking about 3/4 of that doubled cornbread recipe that I cooked, and we're just going to go ahead and guesstimate it here. This leaves a few pieces for my kids who always get hungry and who love cornbread. And at this point, you don't have to I don't let this sit out a day or anything like that. I put it in pretty much as soon as it cools off just a little bit, so I can touch it with my hand. And as you can see, we're going to start filling this 6-quart metal bowl. And it's going to fill it up pretty full, because like I said, I like to make a lot of stuffing so that we can eat on it a few days. And the way I figure it, the way, you know, while you got all your dishes out and you're getting your hands dirty and getting dishes dirty, you might as well go ahead and make enough to last you. Especially something like cornbread stuffing, which we only make once or twice a year. Yeah, don't be afraid to use your hands here. As long as they're clean hands and you washed your hands, good to go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take these biscuits and put these biscuits in now. And just like to tear these biscuits up just like that. Doesn't have to be too small of chunks. It can be pretty good sized chunks. It's all going to get mixed up and cooked anyway. Alright, got the biscuits all torn up in there. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and take some just regular sized wheat sized bread. I'm going to cook about 6 slices of it, and I just put it right in my toaster. Now while my toast is cooking, I'll go ahead and take just 1 packet of regular soup crackers, and we're going to go ahead and put those in as well. Now you could use pretty much any kind of bread you wanted. This is just what I use, pretty much a full can of biscuits. 3/4 of a doubled cornbread recipe goes in. 6 pieces of toast, which I just cut up in squares, and then I put in 1 package of saltine crackers. So we'll go ahead and put that in now. And for the saltine crackers, I just crumble them up. Again, don't worry about getting them too small. Just give them a nice crumble. Alright, at this point I just cut up my bread into squares, just like this. Might as well go ahead and get all those crumbs too. And then we're going to go ahead and take our onion and celery mixture and put that right in. And as you can see, our bowl is here, our 6-quart bowl is already getting pretty full. And that's just the dry ingredients. We still got a lot of wet ingredients to go ahead and add. What I like to do right here before I actually start mixing in my wet ingredients is I like to go ahead and just give it a nice hand toss. So we'll go ahead and do that now. Try to get that cornbread down at the bottom up towards the top. And alright, to this mixture I'm going to go ahead and melt 4 sticks of butter, which is equal to 2 cups of butter. So I'm going to go ahead and melt that in the microwave. Alright, well my butter is melted. I'm going to go ahead and add 2 cans of evaporated milk right here to my dry ingredients. Okay. After the evaporated milk, we're going to go ahead and put in 1 cup of regular milk. We're going to go ahead and add our full 2 cups of butter now, which is actually 4 sticks. And I just buy basically chicken broth. This is from Costco, organic chicken broth. And this may seem like a lot of wet ingredients, but what you want is you're going to want your dressing really moist, because when you cook it, you're going to want it to still come out moist and not be dry. Comes the spices. And with the spices, I'm going to use 3 tablespoons of iodized salt. You could use regular salt as well. If you use sea salt, you might want to use a little less. Sea salt is a lot more potent than regular salt. Two. And that's 3. Here are the 3 tablespoons of salt. I add 3 tablespoons of coarse black pepper. And you might have to season this to your own preference. This is how I season mine and how we like ours. It actually isn't too spicy. It's actually pretty good. But some people like, you know, stuff that's a little more bland. After that, we're going to use poultry seasoning, 4 tablespoons is going to go in. It's 2, 3, and 4. 2 tablespoons of rubbed sage. Now this is actual, as you see, this is actually rubbed sage. If you're using regular sage, ground sage I mean, if you're using ground sage you want to use about twice as much. Rubbed sage is basically twice as strong as regular sage. So if you got the rub, I would use 2 tablespoons. If you're using regular ground sage, which you can use, you'll probably just want to use about 3 or 4. This stuff is kind of chunky, so it's hard to get out of here. It's kind of, it looks like lint or something. But it does make your dressing good.
Yeah, right.
So after the 2 tablespoons of rub saged, my last ingredient is going to be this. I've used this before in some of my recipes. I like this from Costco. It's Kirkland Organic No Salt Seasoning, a blend of 21 organic spices and ingredients to a no salt seasoning. This stuff is really good at a lot of different things. If you can't get this, I would probably just use a little bit of your own seasoning, whatever you can buy, just an all-around seasoning, not necessarily barbecue seasoning or anything like that. But and to that you can basically add your preference. I like about 3 tablespoons of this stuff in my dressing. And then it's just time to mix it up. Get all that seasoning incorporated. Alright guys, as soon as you get it all mixed up thoroughly, like I say, this is what it should look like. It should look very, very wet. Obviously you don't want it swimming in liquid, but you definitely want it really, really moist. Kind of like this. It's really thick, and that way it doesn't turn out dry for you when you cook it in the oven. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and transfer this now into a couple of pans. And what I did is I just rinsed out the same pan that I cooked my cornbread in, and that way I don't have as many dirty dishes. And this is going to fit in 2 of these pans. Like I say, I make enough for, I make quite a bit. So with foil, got a couple of foil sheets here, and then it's going to go into a 350-degree oven. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of this in another pan, but you're going to want to go ahead and cook your dressing on a 350-degree oven for about an hour. And then what I like to do is after about an hour, I like to go ahead and open the oven, remove the aluminum foil, and cook it for an additional 15 minutes or so. So about an hour and 15 minutes of total cooking time. I'm going to go ahead and transfer this into another pan, get it in the oven as well, and we'll check on it when it's done. Alright, like I said, after about an hour, you're going to want to go ahead and remove your dressing, and oh boy, if only you could smell the aroma coming from this dressing now with all those spices in it. And as you can see, it's starting to brown up pretty good there, and it's going to be nice and moist. Let it cook about another 15 minutes and it should be done. Alright, we're back about 15 minutes later. We're going to go ahead and check out our dressing and see what it looks like. ahead and turn our oven off here. And this dressing is red hot right out of the oven, but it is certainly good. And just kind of show you the inside texture of it right here. And I don't know if you can see that, but it is still plenty moist, still plenty wet. It's got your onions and your celery in there. Obviously you could put anything in here that you wanted, whether it be mushrooms, or I've heard of people putting apples in here. If you wanted to put, you know, sausage in here, maybe a little fresh parsley or rosemary in would probably be really good. But that is my homemade Southern style cornbread dressing, and this stuff is really good. How I make it is just a little bit spicy, but not too bad. It's you know, gotta love my camera cord there. But that's actually what it looks like up close. Still nice and moist even after an hour and 15 minutes in the oven. It's really good. And I like to I use plenty, you know, just all the chicken broth, because I like to save the drippings for my turkey that I get. I like to use that to make homemade gravy. So that's what I use the drippings from the turkey for. So I actually just use chicken broth and the milk and the butter you saw to get my my dressing moist. So that's it for my Southern style dressing. Go make it yourself and enjoy. Be sure you leave comments below. Please go ahead and give me a thumbs up on my video if you like it, or a thumbs down if you try it and you don't like it. If you give me a thumbs down, please tell me why you don't like it or why it didn't work out for you. If you have any questions, be sure you ask the questions. Otherwise, feel free, you know, leave me a rating, subscribe if you want to, and leave me some comments. And I want to go ahead and wish you guys happy holidays, and hope your Thanksgiving and Christmas turns out great. Thanks for watching.